The Saints wing it in Buffalo and lead with a win. Tulane's defense gets battered in the home opener. Plus, the Tigers clean their plate against the Aggies.
Fourth down on 4.
Saints versus the Bills is kind of like the tortoise racing the hare. Slow start, but a strong kick when it counts. Hi again, everyone. I'm Juan Kincaid. Welcome to Fourth Down on 4. If you throw away the first 30 minutes against Buffalo, Week 1 went exactly as planned. The Saints found their legs and their game in the second half, getting a much-needed and much-deserved 24-6 victory. Lee Zurich puts a wrap on today's beatdown in Buffalo.
Jim Haslett says it's all about tempo. The Saints offense looked sluggish in the first half, rushing for just 3 yards. But in the second half, they picked up the pace, played like a new team, putting 24 unanswered points on the scoreboard.
Well, we wanted to spread them out a little bit and run the ball and try to get Ricky in the game and then trying to get the ball to Joe and Albert a little bit more. I think the big thing is we set the tempo in the second half that we didn't have in the first half.
Here's the key play in the second half. The Saints still trailing 6-0. The offense starting to drive the ball, though. Facing a 3rd and 15, Albert Connell makes a juggling touchdown catch to give the Saints the lead for good.
It's odd because that same play happened to me this week in practice. We threw it up and I kind of was on my back and I tipped it from the DV, and fell on it. So it's just like deja vu to me. Same thing happened again, which is fine with me.
I told Albert after the catch, I told him it was a big-time catch.
I think the whole drive energized the football team, and we went right like we're supposed to. We got in and out of the huddle, lined up, and we went down the field like we're supposed to.
Everything the Saints offense did wrong in the first half, they did right in the second. Ricky Williams had little room to move around early. In the second half, he ran untouched sometimes, like on this touchdown reception in the fourth quarter, which made it a 24-6 Saints lead.
Well, somehow always calling the right play into what they were running, and I guess it just goes to show how great of a coach he is. Does a great job scouting. We called 2 plays right into a blitz, and it was wide open. They're both to me, and I dropped the one, and I caught the other one for a touchdown.
What we were doing wasn't bad at all. We just wasn't capitalizing. But I felt like he realized we had to go back what we are extremely best at, and that's staying with our base plan. You can never go wrong going back to your fundamentals, and I think we had an opportunity to run a couple of our base plays and get a lot of positive yards from it.
The offense came alive in the second half, but the story of this game, defense. Things coming in threes today. Sammy Knight with 3 interceptions. Joe Johnson had 3 sacks, and instead of giving up touchdowns in the first half, Buffalo settles for 3 points on each trip inside the Saints' red zone.
They got down the red zone, and we held them to 2 field goals, and that was very, very important. If they would have scored touchdowns, that could have been a turning point in the entire game.
We know for us to have, to win this ball game, we had to have turnovers and help our offense out, and that's what happened. We know our offense, they couldn't hold our offense forever, so once we got them in some great field position, then our offense was rolling from there.
It's a team game, and we knew that going in this game, it was going to be a hard-fought game. It was going to be a 60-minute game. And we were going to have to play, and we couldn't take 1 play off, and we talked about it last night. We're going to have to fight for 60 minutes. When you play on the road, in this kind of environment, and it was hostile.
We took exception to what Rob Johnson said, that he was going to score 30 points on us, and they was going to go up and down the field on us, and you don't want to throw no fuel to the fire, and that's what he did.
To go. Big one in New Orleans.
I'm Lee Zurich, 4th down on 4.
Some notes from the game. Not a great performance for Aaron Brooks, but not too bad either. 18 for 29, 209 yards, 3 strikes into the end zone. Ricky Williams started slow, finished strong, though. 18 carries for 93 yards. And the dynamic receiving duo, Joe Horn, Albert Connell, combining for 9 catches, 135 yards. Of course, Connell coming up with that big touchdown, the 46-yard strike from Aaron Brooks, that coming in the 3rd quarter. Channel 4 football analyst Archie Manning joining us here on set now. First of all, slow start by the Saints, but a great finish by the Saints, and it's obviously great to get that first win out of the way.
Well, no doubt, and plus going on the road. Going on the road opening day, kind of a new team in Buffalo with a new staff, but yet they were very charged up, and it's a big crowd there. And the Saints were slow out. I just wondered, the Saints really, in preseason haven't been together, and I'm sure they were excited about today's game, but it just things weren't in sync early on. But the main thing is the defense hung tough. They showed that they were a better team than Buffalo. Didn't allow Buffalo, you know, took Moles out of the game, didn't have any real bad turnovers, and took control in the second half and then dominated.
Everyone has their opinion about preseason games. Right now, the Saints had 4 this past preseason. Some people say that's too many. Maybe it hurt Aaron Brooks this time because the starters don't get a lot of playing time in those preseason games. He looked rusty for the first half. It took him a whole half to get his legs.
I think it's too many if you're kind of a veteran team, and maybe you know, we talk about the Saints being a veteran team, that they've really just been together 1 year with this coaching staff, but they accomplished so much last year. And I think during preseason they so much wanted to avoid injuries, which they did, but I think it's really hard to get your continuity during that. 4 preseason games were too many for the Saints. I'm sure they're very just elated to be into regular season games.
Albert Connell had to deal with that hamstring during preseason, mostly in practice, didn't get much playing time in preseason. He has the big catch today, that touchdown, maybe jumpstart the offense. Yeah, and I'm sure the coaches are really excited about Albert Connell contributing something, because he hadn't answered the bell very much during training camp, and he's behind, but he saw what he can do. He's a talent there, and the fact they started slow, you know, it shows a lot about their team, the way they came out in the second half. But also I think it'll be a lesson next week and in the next few weeks that you want to avoid that, because against some teams are going to be better than Buffalo, and you play a half like that, you'll never recover. Everyone had slow starts in this game. Ricky Williams, no exception, but man, a good finish for him. And when they needed to run the clock down, you know, they just gave it to him up the middle every time, right, left. He was finding holes.
Yeah, and he really, I mean, he showed he's a better runner this year than he's been in the past. I mean, he showed that in the second half, just his speed and just how quick he's hitting up there. And of course, he's always run tough. I don't think he was doing anything wrong in the first half. He just didn't seem to have anywhere to run. Just no one on offense was getting anything done in the first half. But right here, I mean, that's an impressive run.
Channel 4 football analyst Archie Manning, our guest here on Fourth Down. More with you in just a second. Stick around. Still ahead, we're going to talk about Michael Lewis, his first NFL game. Well, it lasted just over a quarter. We're going to have an update on his injury status. But straight ahead, we'll talk about the defense dominating, smothering, and Sammy Knight tying a team record. More on his big day when we return. Stay with us. You know, the Saints offense just showed out in the second half, but it was their defense that made the plays in the game's first 30 minutes, particularly Sammy Knight, the safety. Didn't it seem like every time the Bills had something going, Knight was there to kill the drive? Today, he did it with 3 interceptions. Jim Henderson has more from Buffalo.
When it comes to accolades, Sammy Knight seldom gets his due. He probably deserved to go to the Pro Bowl last year. More performances like today's 3-interception effort that could well make him the NFC's Defensive Player of the Week, and he can't be denied again.
Always trying to get as many as you can. We're greedy out there, so, you know, fortunately for me, you know, the Lord allowed me to be in the right place today, and, you know, a couple of times I got a couple of big plays, and, you know, those things will happen on its own. You just keep playing ball, play consistently, and, you know, you'll get in the Pro Bowl.
His first of the day didn't produce any points as the Saints offense failed to as well in the first half. It was a pretty ugly first 30 minutes here in Ralph Wilson Stadium, but the second half was as different as day and night. 2 more interceptions led to 10 points, enough to win this game.
Sammy Knight intercepting Rob Johnson.
Sammy, you know, we talked about turnovers winning this game. You got to get turnovers, and Sammy had 3 of them. And you know, Sammy got the game ball, and rightfully so, he deserved it.
The Saints pass rush produced 5 sacks. It's a defensive back's best friend, and it had Rob Johnson throwing high and wide when he was able to throw it all.
You know, that's how the game goes. You know, it'll probably be Joe next week, or Leroy, or Keith Mitchell. You know, I'm waiting for him. He'll bust on the scene like that. So, you know, you never know who this is going to be. You know, we have a great collective, a great defense. You know, with a bunch of people who fly around to the ball and make great plays. So, you know, we have to come out this week and do that.
But in this league, you're only as good as your next game, and Knight was already looking ahead to his.
That's what this team is about. You know, don't give up big plays, create turnovers, and win on offense. So, you know, we got to come out next week. Like I said, you know, the 49ers are coming to town. Hey, that's a rivalry. That's a great offense right there. You know what I mean? So we have to be ready to play.
In Buffalo, Jim Henderson, Fourth Down on 4.
Knight picked up the game ball for his efforts, and deservedly so, but a number of players on that defensive side of the ball deserved it. Kevin Mitchell led the team with 8 tackles, 7 solo. Joe Johnson had a man-sized day, 6 tackles, and of course he had 3 of the team's 5 sacks. Leroy Glover, Charlie Clements also getting to Rob Johnson in the backfield. Back with Archie Manning. Archie, that defense stepped up after being just slammed in the press and the media and even by the fans during the preseason. They didn't show up in the preseason, but boy, today they were awesome.
Well, they really were. And this is a good defensive football team, led by the front 4. 5 sacks today. That's they're on pace now, another 60-odd sack season. Joe Johnson, the tackle, couldn't block him. He's a dominating player. And I thought a real key in the game is Buffalo in the second half did get down inside the 5 on the 1-yard line and didn't score, had to settle for 3. That was big. I think they were done after that.
What made it easy for the Saints, I think, is that when they pulled ahead, Buffalo had to throw the ball.
Yeah.
And so
they're not together on their pass. And I thought the Saints did Coach Zook and their defensive staff, and the defense had a good plan. They took Moles out of the game. Rob Johnson, he's got a lot of pressure on him, the Flutie thing, and a lot was on him today. And I think with that much pressure on him, the Saints defense is not the one you want to play against.
Yeah,
so I kind of feel for him a little bit, and he wasn't sharp. But the Saints defense was a big reason for that.
Sammy Knight's made a pretty good transition from linebacker in college to safety now, and could play some center field for baseball. Looks like it. Boy, he was everywhere the ball was.
Well, he's always been like that. He's a football player, free agent, but he's a savvy player. I don't know as a cover guy one-on-one if he's one of the better strong safeties, but I know he's around the football. And hey, 3 interceptions. I mean, that's a good season for safety sometimes. I know he had 5 last year, but sure Johnson threw him a couple. But Sammy's always around and makes plays. He's a valuable part of that defense.
Talk about a section that was really ridiculed during the preseason. The secondary, every game they didn't catch a break. But today they kind of stopped Buffalo's main guy, Eric Moles. This guy came off the field saying, the Saints knew where I was lining up every time.
Well, the Saints run the same offense. I mean, it's the West Coast, and but I thought the defensive staff had a great plan. And Eric Moles is a great football player. I mean, I've watched this guy the last few years, against the Colts twice a year, and he's really good. And to take him out of the game, 1 catch, that's key.
Next week, San Francisco coming to town, the home opener. We expect a big crowd at the Dome, but this is a game that the Saints should win. San Francisco coming off a tough game against Atlanta, winning in overtime and struggling a little bit.
Well, they got a good win, so they're going to come in excited. I watched that game, and they got big receivers, and Garcia is getting more and more confidence. So the defense again will have to step up and do the job. I think San Francisco is a better team, but you're right. Saints should beat San Francisco and be 2-0 going into an open date. You can't ask for more than that.
2-0. 2-0 for the Saints, and that's the best start we could have asked for, going 1-3 last year to 2-0.
Well, I'm glad we got a home game, and I think that I hope we have a good crowd and a lot of excitement. But San Francisco, it will be a challenge for the defense. But of course, you know more about your division teams, and you saw them last year. But the fact that they won in overtime today, and I thought Atlanta had played pretty well, so it was a big win for them.
All right, Channel 4 football analyst Archie Manning, our guest here on 4th Down. Always a pleasure.
Thank you, sir. Okay, buddy.
I will see you in a couple weeks. Obviously, the Saints, of course, they came away from yesterday's game or today's game pretty much injury-free. Well, except for the one guy that everyone really loves to talk about the most, Michael Lewis, the local favorite, playing in his first ever NFL game. It lasted just over a quarter. Lewis left the game in the second quarter following kickoff coverage. The initial diagnosis, ankle sprain, which would be good news and make him questionable for next week's game against the Niners. The only other bump on the day, well, that being Leroy Glover, but not even a little cramp was going to keep Glover out of the game. He did return pretty quickly. Still to come here on 4th Down on 4, our college segment.
New Orleans, ABC 26 Sports. This is Inside Saints.
A return trip to Buffalo starts with bear hugs, until Jim Haslett gives the replacement reps a rude awakening. But in the end, the Saints get an early Christmas as they turn up the heat to produce a nightmare for the Buffalo Bills.
I played sports as a young child just to be playing.
Saints quarterback Aaron Brooks reflects on his roots. Plus, these Saints stations are ready to root on Brooks and company in the Dome opener. What's new with the first ladies of the sideline this season?
Listen up, Saints fans. We're kicking off a brand new season, Inside Saints.
The official TV show of the New Orleans Saints. Now, Ed Daniels, Kim Davis, and Harry McCullough.
Well, for a half Sunday, the Saints were the Bills, and the Bills were the Saints. But I think they got it figured out.
They did, and you know what? The best part about the first half, they were only down 6-0. If there's something bright about it, that had to be it.
You betcha.
Yeah, no doubt about that. It felt good to be on the other side of one of these games. For so many years, San Francisco, the Saints would dominate with their defense throughout the first half, and then they come out of the locker room, Montana to Rice, and then it's all over, and the 49ers go home with another win.
All right, thanks, Harry. Well, this regular season opener is a carryover from last year when the Saints had the best regular season road record in the NFL.
It took the Saints a while to get rolling against an inferior opponent. Jim Haslett said too much is made of halftime adjustments, but the Saints did make one big one on offense, and that was go north-south instead of east-west.
Game time, baby. Been waiting for this for a long time, baby.
After a woeful first 30 minutes, the Saints did what veteran playoff contending teams do and don't. They didn't panic and turned up their play a notch or two.
We set the tempo in the second half that we didn't have in the first half, and I don't know what, for whatever reason, we tried to get them to get in and out of the huddle lineup, and this heat doesn't bother us at all. I mean, this is what we practice in every day, so we figured by the fourth quarter we'd have an advantage.
It was 87 degrees at kickoff, 100 degrees plus on the turf. And when Jim Haslett wanted to turn the heat up on the Bills, he turned to his comfort zone, power football. Ricky Williams had 4 carries, 5 yards at the half. He finished with 18 carries for 93 yards. 56 of Ricky's yards came in the fourth quarter when he was fresh and the Bills weren't.
It all goes back to Thibodeau, man. I can't give Thibodeau enough praise. They was dying in the third quarter while we still was fresh. They made a comment saying that it was hot out here with 85% and 49% humidity. We was laughing because we know what it is back in New Orleans and back in Thibodeau. So, I think we was a better conditioned team today.
The Saints are doing what veteran playoff contending teams do. That's win on the road. Jim Haslett's Saints have played 9 regular season road games. They've won 8.
Now let's go inside the game. In the offseason, the Buffalo Bills chose Rob Johnson over Doug Flutie at quarterback. Sunday, Flutie was leading San Diego to victory over Washington. Johnson's day was far worse, and many of his wounds were self-inflicted.
Doug Flutie's legion of fans in Buffalo say the Bills can't win with Rob Johnson at quarterback. Sunday, they were right. Johnson, often knocked for holding the ball too long, ignores a wide-open Travis Henry, who's calling for the ball. Johnson, pressured by Willie Whitehead, is sacked by Joe Johnson. Later, the Bills faked the run and set up a quick toss to wide receiver Eric Moulds. For whatever reason, Johnson didn't throw Moulds the ball. Safety Sammy Knight tied a team record with 3 interceptions. Cornerback Fred Thomas had a quiet but effective game. Twice, Rob Johnson tried to get downfield to Eric Moulds. Both times, Thomas had blanket coverage. Having Cam Cleveland back at tight end gives the Saints offense a huge advantage, especially in the red zone. On 1st and 10 at the 12, the Saints know Cleveland will be covered man-to-man by a linebacker. Cleveland beats Kenyatta Walker, grabs a perfect throw from Aaron Brooks for the score. A good residual for the current knockout of NFL regular officials. Fewer penalties. Each team had 4 penalties for 35 yards. The game was played in 2 hours, 53 minutes.
Now that's going to back the Bills up all the way back to the...
Well, this season's already been big for the Saints in the headlines, a quarterback battle, and Deuce holding out. Let's go inside the headlines to see what sports writers across the nation are saying about the Saints' defeat of the Bills. NFL.com says the game was a nightmare. Safeties, 3 INTs, bury the Bills. The Buffalo News Today read, new Bills fall in half-hearted season opener. Saints take Bills to finishing school. ESPN.com says it was over when Sammy Knight got his 3rd interception. WayMoreSports.com reads, Bills fade when Saints go marching in. And CNNSI.com says Saints stymie Bills. Johnson en route to 24-6 win. All but one team in the NFC West started the season on a winning note, the exception Atlanta. Let's go inside the West for Week 1.
And it matters. In his first
Escaped a narrow victory thanks to the leg of Jose Cortez. Cortez booted this 20-yard field goal to send the game to overtime. Then in OT, Cortez seal the victory with this 24-yard field goal. 49ers win it 16-13. Meanwhile, the Rams and Phillies and Eagle overtime needed to also end this one. 2nd and 20 from the Eagles' 39-yard line. Kurt Warner hits Isaac Bruce down the sideline. He's out of bounds at the 12. 2 plays later, Jeff Wilkins hits the game-winning 26-yard field goal. It's 20-17 Rams. And finally, in the Metrodome, the Panthers rookie Steve Smith takes the opening kickoff and finds a hole in the middle. The Vikings special teams, Smith is off to the races for a 94-yard touchdown return, and the Panthers never look back, taking this one by a final of 24-13.
And no flags.
That was a big surprise. So after the first week of play, the standings not very complicated. Here's a look. The Saints 1-0, Carolina 1-0. Didn't think that would happen. The 49ers, of course, beat the Falcons, and the Rams beat the Eagles.
It's a feeding frenzy and a rookie ritual. See the games the vets cook up for the new guys before they take off for those games on the road.
Yo, this is Aaron Brooks, quarterback at the New Orleans Saints.
Off the field and on the air, we go inside the helmet of Aaron Brooks.
One-on-one with Coach Jim Haslett. Later, Harry McCullough asked the coach what every fan wants to know. What did he tell the team in the locker room at halftime? Stay tuned for more Inside Saints on ABC 26.
Let's go get it. Let's do it.
Do you know how to feed a hungry group of veterans? Saints rookie Kenny Smith found out on the flight to Buffalo.
You know, I'm headed down to Popeyes to get a couple chicken for the veteran players. Every rookie got to do it, so one day it'll be something for me to send another rookie to get it. So this is just one order right here. Got about one more. I get some hot sauce, ketchup, jelly. See how they treat you. You're a rookie. See how you get treated. Can I get one more plate? All right, y'all have a good day. Now it's time to go deliver this food to these fellas. So we headed to the airport right now. Handing this chicken off. Earlier, they was got talking about some ribs, man. I don't know about that. See how they treat you. You're a rookie. See how you get treated.
Welcome back to Inside Saints and the inside story of Aaron Brooks.
Well, in the second half against Buffalo, Brooks took command of the huddle to produce 3 touchdown strikes and complete 62% of his passes. Tonight, we go inside the helmet of Aaron Brooks to see what he's like away from the game.
Yo, this is Aaron Brooks, quarterback of the New Orleans Saints.
This is Aaron Brooks in his downtime, when he's not hitting receivers in the end zone or eluding a pass rush. It's his day off, and he's promoting a fundraiser for his ABC project, which stands for Aaron Believes in Children.
With me here in New Orleans and doing the things I'm doing here on the field, I think I thought it was a great idea to give back in the community, especially the New Orleans public school system. To reach out to them kids, give them guys some type of hope, and be a role model that I know I can be.
Brooks stands 6'4", weighs 205 pounds. He sports a quiet yet confident demeanor, and at 25 years old is the offensive leader of this new Saints team. Brooks took the league and the Crescent City by storm when he led the Saints to their first ever playoff win, and later won the full-time starting job. An impressive feat for a guy who says basketball is his first love.
I had no dreams or aspiration of saying I'm going to be the best quarterback, or I'm going to be just like Randall Cunningham or John Elway or Warren Moon. I had no idea. I was just playing it because it kept me out of trouble.
In fact, Brooks, a sleeper in the quarterback class draft of 1999, says this whole evolution to becoming an NFL starter and celebrity can be overwhelming, though he admits his performance may have shocked everyone else except him.
The public, it doesn't mean a lot to some people, but the public and how people perceive you is pretty much everything to a person like myself, because the more and more I can get those people on my side, the better they feel about me, the more comfortable they feel about me, and the more support the Saints will get.
Brooks says growing up in the ghetto in Newport News, Virginia, helped make him tough. When asked what he'd like people to know about him, he says just understand his road to the NFL hasn't been easy.
Try to get a grasp of where I came from, what I've done, and how hard I've worked to overcome a lot of things to get where I'm at.
The thing that had to impress you last year is after Jeff Blake got hurt in the Oakland game, the poise that Aaron Brooks had in the quarterback, in the pocket, remarkable for a quarterback in his first real live NFL action to be like that.
Not much experience coming into that game. Of course, the offseason, he has spent a lot of time studying, learning, and getting himself ready. And he says, basically, he's kind of like you. Lets you just chill out and read a lot.
I guess so. He's a quick study.
One-on-one with Coach Jim Haslett. Harry asked him next what was wrong with the Saints in the first half and why a different team showed up for half number 2.
We'll take you behind the glitter and gold, an inside look at the new sensations, and more when Inside Saints returns. Inside Saints goes inside the heart of the team. The fans really win the heart of offensive guard Wally Williams.
1, 2, 3. Yeah! You need to take off that helmet every once in a while and kind of relate to fans as much as you can. You know, you're walking around in that armor and, you know, you have that tough guy image out there on the field and you see them guys growling and, you know, just yelling and screaming and going nuts out there on the field. And you get a chance to take that off and, you know, just have a, you know, nice homely atmosphere and, you know, getting close to the fans who are supporting you throughout this whole year because, you know, they're the backbone of what we try to do. You know, they come in and they're cheering loud. You know, you got 60, 70,000 fans out there cheering for you every weekend. I mean, that's that fuels you during the course of the year, especially when it gets, you know, latter part of the season when you're on that playoff run. So it's important that you go out there and shake hands and give back.
The inside stories of players giving back every week on Inside Saints.
Now, Chrysler presents One-on-One with Coach Jim Haslett. Here's ABC 26's Harry McCullough.
Well, interviewing the head coach was a very easy job on this Monday. Coach Jim Haslett was in a great mood. Good thing we didn't have to interview him at halftime of that game. But you might be surprised about what went on during the halftime of that Bills game. Only a 13-minute halftime for the NFL. And Coach Haslett said there was no grand speech, no big motivational speech, no great adjustments. Just he said the same thing he always says. Continue to stay focused and fight through the adversity.
Well, we had, you know, a number of different things happen to us. You know, we had a bunch of injuries during the game, and that some young guys had to step in and play. Cedric Hodge got a lot of work yesterday, and I think the heat really played into our favor. But you know, we overcame that also, and then you know, we didn't play very well in the first half on offense, and we put it together in the second half. So there was a number of different things, and I'm sure, like I said, every game there's something that comes up that if our players learn to deal with it and not worry about it, especially playing on the road, it will be a much better football team for us.
Yeah, why were you calling the plays in the first half? No,
yeah, no kidding. I can't take credit. I had one or two of those, I'm sure, but no, we just we didn't really get into a rhythm right off the bat for whatever reason, and then we came out in the second half and we started playing our style of football, which is up-tempo, and we got the ball, and a couple turnovers helped us, and we scored after those turnovers, so we got in a roll, and things started clicking for us.
Yeah, defensively, you know, your defensive backs have taken some heat a little bit, but boy, I think they might have saved the game for us. Fred Thomas had a great game, Kevin Mathis, and of course, Sammy Knight.
Well, you know, our defensive backs have been taking heat for 2 years, and we didn't draft any in the last 2 years, and people say, well, you need a corner, and our three corners, Kevin Mathis, Freddie Thomas, and Hawthorne, had 18 tackles between them. And one thing they're tough, they're competitive, they battle, they're going to go and give it all in every snap. And I love our corners, and I think they're excellent players. And you ask coaches throughout the league, and they're going to tell you got good corners. It's not what the quote media or propaganda people say about the corners. We got pretty good football players.
Okay, NFC West, pretty tough playground this year. I mean, you start off 4-1, and the only guy that lost was to a division rival. What about San Francisco, and what about this division?
Well, I think it's a good division. Obviously, St. Louis is a good football team. San Francisco is much better. I think Atlanta's much better. I haven't really seen Carolina yet, but I heard they played well the other night. So it's a good division. It'll be good battles, and you know, we got to take care of you know, of our games. We got to win our division games, and this will be a good one to open up with this week.
All right, Coach, I'm gonna play Regis. We lead into Millionaire. So we're going to call this the Millionaire pregame, so we'll give you a couple of questions here. First of all, we're Buffalo Days. Let me have you name the members of the Bermuda Triangle.
Oh, that's a tough one. That was the famed triangle. It was myself, Fred Smerlas, and Shane Nelson, the good football players. Fred's going to be up in the Wall of Fame in Buffalo, and Shane was a steady, tough guy. Played 10 years in the league, hard-nosed, and between the three of us, we had fun together. We'd go out together. We played hard together, and it was it was great playing defense with those the other two.
Yeah, Darren Smith said he was really in the Bermuda Triangle at University of Miami with Darren Smith, Jesse Armstead, and Michael Barrow.
That's a pretty good group.
I think they stole that nickname from
good group.
Okay, who will be the Saints' first player in the Hall of Fame, do you think? It's 4. Archie Manning, Ricky Jackson, Morton Anderson, and Willie Roaf.
I would probably say Willie Roaf. I think just a lot of that's based off winning and losing, and some of that, gets distorted, but I think Willie's played a great number of years at a high level, and he's going to continue to do that, and hopefully we can get a couple more wins under our belt and get him in that Hall of Fame.
Yeah, there is no doubt about that. Speaking of millionaires, I think Jim Haslett's going to be a millionaire whether or not he's on that game show, because of the way he's coaching this team, his contract comes up in a couple of years. So I think he'll be taken care of down the road with or without Regis.
Interesting the way he handled things yesterday, Harry. I really felt that, even though they were down at the half, they got the stop near the goal line. They were only trailing 6-0, and he didn't seem to be that concerned. Eventually, he felt his team would take over.
Right. He is a disciplinarian, but he's also smart enough to know you don't treat every guy the same. You don't treat every team the same. Last year, they didn't know what they were going to have. This year, he knows they got a pretty good club. All he had to do is get it together in the second half. And like I say, only down 6 points going into halftime, he knew that this team with one drive could be right back in the game.
Harry, I think the team takes their cue from Coach Haslett. They, too, were calm, and they didn't get frenzied or harried, and that's how they pulled this one out.
No doubt about that. And I guess, again, holding them to field goals, it was just like watching the old Niners that used to do it to the Saints. They'd hold them to Morton Anderson field goals and then score Jerry Rice touchdowns in the second half.
All right, thanks, Harry. Well, it's not just the players with a new look this season. The Saints stations are sporting new uniforms and new attitude. ABC 26 photojournalist Blaine Strong gives you an inside look at the 2001 Saints stations.
We're nervous. We're next to the Saints stations, and we're so nervous. No, we're not really that nervous. We're prepared. Hey, sister, go, sister, soul, sister, flow, sister.
Oh. Love it. This is my first game, and we just finished practicing on the field, and we're like really excited.
We had to go through different auditions that we've never had to do before. Girls don't have to be, limited to just being beautiful and being able to dance, that they can be smart and professional and be able to speak well and be out in the public and do things of that nature as well. I said your girls are going to be tired by the end of the game. I said wear them out.
We're more than just, cheerleaders out there, that we have brains, that we, some of us are mothers, some of us have careers, we finished college, we have degrees. So it's a lot more than just, getting out there and waving your pom-poms.
Even the uniforms are very, they're not revealing, but they're a little bit more on the, help me out.
They're sassy.
Sassy? Okay. Sassy. How do you say that? Sassy.
They're not all naked and everything, and they have a classier look.
We wanted to make sure that these are women that could present themselves in public, speak, and not only dance well and look good and cheer for the Saints, but also be able to represent the Saints organizations and the Saints stations positively in the community.
And the squad kicks off the Junior Sensation program this weekend.
If you've got a daughter who wants to join, you can call 1-800-256-7827.
Last call. We'll look ahead to the last Superdome showdown between the Saints and 49ers as division rivals.
Plus, our predictions on the outcome when Inside Saints returns on ABC 26. And welcome back to Inside Saints. The Saints say they'll be ready for the 49ers on Sunday. In the history of the rivalry, New Orleans beat San Francisco just 18 times.
But twice last year. Last year in the Dome, of course, one of those times that Jeff Flake-led offense scored on the team's first 5 possessions and handled San Francisco easily, 31-15. If a repeat performance is in the cards, the Saints will have to find a way to move the ball against a much improved San Francisco defense led by defensive tackle Bryant Young. Of course, they beat the Falcons in overtime, rallying from 13-3 down to win. Are they good enough to win this week? I'll be last. Kim, you'll be first.
Well, I'm going to say yes, they will. I think they'll do it easily, and it's going to be fun, a great home opener, and a win for the Saints.
Harry?
Yeah, I don't see this 49ers team can stand up with the Saints. I think the Saints are on a different level now than the 49ers were. I think the Saints also know the importance of getting this win before they go into the bye week. I say they win this game 35-10, and Jeff Garcia has a long afternoon.
Okay, I think the Saints will win as well. 49ers are getting there, but not there just yet. Thanks for watching Inside Saints. We're back with Inside Saints next Monday night at 6:30.
Inside Saints, the official TV show of the New Orleans Saints, is an exclusive presentation of ABC 26 Sports.
Next week, so there is the prospect that the Saints will play one game in 21 days. The NFL followed the lead of some other sports in postponing its weekend schedule. That means the Saints will not be hosting the San Francisco 49ers as scheduled. Within a few days, the NFL hopes to have an announcement as to how or if the games will be made up. The Saints voted to play this weekend, Player Representative Jerry Fontenot casting the vote. But the majority of the teams in the NFL did not want to play, and so the league will not. Certainly it would have been much harder to play if the Saints were making a road trip instead of hosting, or if we were more directly involved in the tragedy, such as New York, New England, Washington, San Francisco, or Baltimore.
It's hard for us to understand. We think we get it from down here or 2,000 miles away, but I don't think we really do as to the devastation and everything that's taken place there that's shooken these guys' lives and gals, and their whole lives have been turned upside down.
So the NFL schedule has been postponed this weekend, along with all Division 1A football games. Major League Baseball will be off through Sunday and resume on Monday. The PGA Tour will not play, nor NHL exhibitions, NASCAR's Winston Cup race, or really all other major sports entities. There will be those who will second-guess canceling games in such a wholesale fashion. There will be those who will second-guess playing prep football games this weekend, as will be the case. We join Juan Kincaid at Pan American Stadium, where the prep weekend kicked off today with Kennedy taking on Douglas. Juan?
Indeed it did, Jim. Thanks a lot. Yeah, the Kennedy-Douglas game came to a close about a half an hour ago. This is the first of two games that's going to be played here at Pan Am Stadium tonight, with Reed and McMain coming up at 7:30. There are also a couple of games going to be played tonight in Metairie and also in Lafitte. In fact, pretty much every football program in the state of Louisiana will play games tonight or on Friday night. The decision to play or stay home was basically put on the shoulders of the parish's athletic director. And like many, Orleans Parish AD Ronald Gearing was in favor to play, as were a lot of the parents I spoke with.
There's nothing wrong with these kids out here playing this game today, because actually what happened to all of us, but it is for the government and the older ones to try to have to deal with, and it's for us to have to work with the kids to get over it. So for them to kind of take their minds off it just temporarily, I think that's fine.
How much?
The kids, the faculty, the staff, we all moan for those that have lost someone, or those that are still, you know, trapped or something of that nature, but I guess we have to just move on with the kids.
We can't let unfortunate incidents that are brought to us at the hands of people who don't care about us, who have, you know, mean intentions, stop our lives. So, you know, we can show those, you know, that have been affected by this in a negative and the most, you know, unfortunate way, that we care for them by, you know, saying prayers for them, or by carrying on in the spirit that they would have had us to do so.
Now, Kennedy won this game 46-0, but clearly this game was about much more than the final score. It was more about the players, the faculty, the fans, the coaches, everyone involved in this game, in this school, and this area, getting on with their lives. Reporting live from Pan Am Stadium, I'm Juan Kincaid, Channel 4 Eyewitness Sports. Jim?
Thank you, Juan. So there is some sporting activity, but that just about is it right there.
All right. From
It's football season. It's Sunday. The Superdome is vacant. And it's not because the Saints are on the road. The NFL gives the order. The games will have to wait. Saints GM Randy Mueller respects the league's decision, but would have liked to play on.
I think by the weekend, I'd kind of like to see some football and have something else on our minds. I know that was kind of the players' thinking, too, on our team. I think they would have liked to have gone ahead and played, but I totally understand the decision. And, again, there's no right or wrong. It's just personal opinion.
Some may have wanted to play today, but New Orleans is 1,300 miles from New York City. Saints players geographically and emotionally removed from the devastation.
We're a ways from it, you know, and we're not right in the middle of it, although we all feel it. It's not the same here as it is in New York or Washington or someplace that's right there. I'm sure their feelings are a lot stronger and a lot different than ours.
Center Jerry Fontenot is the Saints Players Association representative. He says a majority of representatives from other teams voted against playing. On the league's decision, Fontenot says, "This goes way above football. It goes above economic issues. It's all about helping this nation heal. We're people before we're football players. That's what we want to show." On a far less significant note, the Saints now have considerable time off. 21 days, in fact, between the season opener against the Bills and their next game on September 30th.
That's hard, you know, when you take 3 weeks off. And again, that shouldn't be part of the equation. Again, I don't want to even go there, but it'll be by the end, in the middle of next week, it'll be hard for our guys to keep going knowing they don't play next week either.
More emotional days are ahead. The Saints resume their schedule against the Giants in what will be the first game in the New York area since the terrorist attacks. Coming up later in the show, I'll show you what some Saints are doing to help out in the relief effort. Darryl?
Thank you very much.
Subject of our first Fox 8 Sports Spotlight.
Red Cross relief. Red Cross. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
How's that?
There we go.
The Saints suiting up to raise money for disaster relief, stationed in front of the Superdome, appealing to a generous city.
Found something. All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
More than a dozen players using their visibility to flag down cars and rack up donations.
Good.
The NFL may be taking the weekend off, but the Saints are staying active.
We've got some time here now with no ball games this weekend that whatever we can do to pitch in and do our part, we're definitely going to do it.
Thank you, sir.
Even huge defensive linemen Joe Johnson and Norman Hand have no problem executing a flawless handoff.
Thank you, sir.
How are you? Thank you very much.
God bless you.
All right.
Thank you very much.
These gridiron heroes showing the good work they do isn't limited to Sundays.
Just trying to help this country get back on its feet and just show all those victims and their families that America is behind them all the way.
Today, the Saints aren't NFL stars, just Americans who feel a responsibility to help rebuild our nation. Okay, maybe they get a little of the star treatment. So the Saints sign and they smile.
American Red Cross.
And they rattle their collection buckets. And the fans smile back, and they give.
800-2525-8.
A lot, and the money piles high. The goodwill is contagious, and it seems as long as you're giving, there's no wrong way to do it.
Thank you.
From WGNO New Orleans, ABC 26 Sports, this is Inside Saints.
What about owner Tom Benson's vision of dancing in a new stadium? Could he now be happy with the Superdome? We'll talk with Benson about answering fans' prayers, keeping the Saints in the Crescent City.
He's the demon of the defense, pulling quarterback passes out of thin air. He'll take you inside the helmet of Sandy Knight.
Do you remember the Saints' last game? It's been a long time since that trip to Buffalo. We'll talk one-on-one with Coach Jim Haslett to find out how the timeout will affect this season. This is Inside Saints.
The official TV show of the New Orleans Saints. Now, Ed Daniels, Kim Davis, and Harry McCullough.
Saints are well rested for one of their biggest games of the season Sunday against the New York Giants. And you know, guys, watching the game on Sunday, the Giants are great on defense, but very, very average offensively.
And that is a great thing for the Saints because, of course, on defense they're tough, but they also have some offense.
Saints can score a little bit, right, Harry?
Yeah, no doubt about that. Actually, Jim Haslett talks about it a little later. Just like the Saints, they try to bloody your nose on defense, get the game into the fourth quarter, and then win a close game. It might come down to John Corney and Morton Anderson, two guys the Saints had their choice of for the game winner.
And both guys not making a lot of money, which is unusual in the NFL these days, relatively speaking. Yep.
All right, thanks, Harry. Well, in 1976, the Giants left New York to play their home games across the Hudson River at New Jersey's Meadowlands.
It was a move that surprised New Yorkers and kicked off a host of franchise relocations. Saints owner Tom Benson has expressed his desire for a new retractable roof stadium. But for the first time, Benson said he'd be willing to stay at the Superdome if the state of Louisiana shows him it makes economic sense.
Tom Benson, a fan of the Superdome? The public perception is anything but. But 4 days after his team opened the season at Buffalo, He sat down to talk with us about the Dome and the future of keeping the team in New Orleans.
I love the Dome. It's a wonderful place, you know, but if we can't compete, when you go to these new stadiums and you see it in baseball or football, and you see what it does for the fans and what it does for the players and what it does for the community, that's what we want, you know. Now, if we can do that in the Dome, fine, you know. I just don't know if we can, but I got a very open mind on this thing. I don't need a new stadium for Tom Benson. I need a new stadium so that we can continue to produce a good football team and that we have great fan support.
In July, Benson and Governor Foster reached agreement on a new short-term Superdome lease for the Saints. The team will get $25 million over the next 2 years and be free to vacate the Dome after the 2003 season. A committee is currently studying the possibility of building the Saints a new stadium, doing some renovations to the Dome, completely re-engineering the Superdome, or changing nothing. That report is due no later than January 15, 2003. The committee says it will have its job done by August of 2002.
Yeah, I wouldn't want us to build a new stadium and we have no support for the new stadium. That would be foolish. All I want to do is be competitive with the rest of the league. That's all we want. Whether that's a new stadium or a renovated Superdome, that's the committee's job. Let them come up and see. And I think that hopefully they keep an open mind. I got a very open mind on it, and if it'll work in the Superdome, I'm for that. If it works in the new stadium, I'm for that too.
This season, the Saints raised some eyebrows in New Orleans by raising capacity for their games at the Dome by more than 5,000 to 70,020 seats. The Saints say they were asked by the league to do so. An NFL spokesman, Dick Maxwell, said he was unaware of such a request. But Tom Benson said at the request of the league and his 30 owner partners, he raised the capacity to 70,000 plus. Benson said last year the Saints marked those 5,000 plus seats obstructed view. But this year the Saints used the normal Superdome capacity, the same one Benson says Tulane uses.
I don't know how anybody in the National Football League could say, certainly not Paul Tagliabue or people like Jeff Pash, who's their lead attorney, would say that this is what the policy says you're supposed to do.
The Saints now rank 15th out of 31 in home stadium capacity, but New Orleans is one of the league's smallest TV markets. Benson said he needs the support of what he calls 49,000 small businesses in the metro area. He says the Saints must have regional support, just like the Packers.
You know, when the Saints came here in the 60s and the 70s, we were filling up the Tulane Stadium with 80,000 people, and we didn't have a problem. You say, well, tickets were a lot cheaper, but pay was a lot cheaper, too.
You know, I'm not opposed to a new stadium. What I'm worried about is economically, is it feasible? Can you spend $400 million on a stadium, then get people who can afford to go to the stadium to buy the tickets, then have the state guarantee the club suites and the club seats in the suites? I just don't think all of that can happen. That's my hang up with it, not the fact that they need a new stadium.
We'll see what happens. Well, the state and the Saints still haven't signed the short-term deal for the governor and Benson shook hands on in July. The governor's office told us today it's made no progress.
Well, let's hope the Saints can make some progress Sunday in New York. The Giants have in their favor a great defense, as we said earlier, and an emotional home crowd. But the Giants are anything but supermen. Tonight we go inside the game to show you how the Saints can win and why the Chiefs didn't.
A bad day for Chiefs quarterback Trent Green got started on Kansas City's first offensive play. Green locked in on his slot receiver. Didn't see number 90, Kenny Holmes, who dropped into pass coverage. Fortunately for Green, Holmes dropped an easy interception. The entire game turned in the Giants' favor right here when Green threw into the end zone, into double coverage, and was picked off by Sean Williams. If the Saints want to beat the Giants, Aaron Brooks will have to play much better than Trent Green did against New York. If an outstanding Giant defense does have an Achilles heel, it's their secondary. Yet surprisingly, the Chiefs didn't try to go deep much. Marvin Snoop Minnis did pull down this 49-yard reception. The Chiefs spent much of the day throwing short passes, which is exactly what the Giants wanted. The Chiefs simply didn't have the skill players to make the Giants sweat. Running back Tony Richardson is in space here, but can't turn in a big play. If Ricky Williams has room, he has to make the Giants pay. The Saints' plan against the Giants should simply be this: be ahead after 3 quarters. Check out this stat. The Giants were 30-1 under Jim Fossil when leading after 3 quarters. Only 5-25 when trailing after 3. The goal for the Saints: get ahead and get the Giants out of their ball control style of play. When the Giants return home Sunday, they'll play the first NFL game in New York since terrorists brought down the World Trade Center Twin Towers September 11th. More reason for the Saints to get ahead early, control the game, and a raucous Giants Stadium crowd.
When a team is up against a great defense like the Giant defense, or much like the Saints defense in many respects, I think the one thing that can hurt them is a running quarterback. And I think that if the Saints are to win Sunday, that Aaron Brooks is going to have to make some plays. The fact that Trent Green can't move really hurt Kansas City yesterday.
And that's one of the things that Aaron does well. He just has to feel comfortable running around in the pocket, and I think they'll be just fine.
I hope so.
Well, the Saints were the only team in the NFC West with Sunday off. The rest of the West played each other. The Falcons hosting the Panthers and the Rams visiting the 49ers. Let's take you inside the West. To San Fran we go, where everybody was proud to be an American. In the 4th, the Rams up by 6. Kurt Warner finds Isaac Bruce, who eludes not 1 but 5 49ers. And with help of some downfield blocking, takes it in for the touchdown to put the Rams up 28-16. They hold off a late 49er charge for the 30-26 win. Meanwhile, Atlanta also in the patriotic spirit during pregame activities. Let's pick this one up in the 3rd quarter. Score tied at 10. Falcons with the ball at their own 6. Quarterback Chris Chandler finds a wide-open Jamal Anderson up the middle. Anderson goes 94 yards untouched into the end zone. That big play by Anderson and Chandler put the Falcons up 17-10, and they go on to the 24-16 victory over the Panthers.
Here's now a look at the current standings in the NFC West. The Rams' victory over the Niners moves them to 2-0. The Saints, by virtue of a bye week, also are undefeated. The Falcons, Panthers, and 49ers all 1-1.
This is Wally Williams' funny face. Get the inside scoop on his game face.
You know, as a little kid, you know, you always dreamed about playing, you know, in the Meadowlands.
This dreamer caused nightmares in Buffalo. 3 interceptions. We'll tell you what makes Sammy Knight tick.
One-on-one with Coach Jim Haslett. The 21-day layoff, will it help or hurt the Saints? These stories ahead on Inside Saints. Inside Saints gives you the inside scoop on the players. What's Saints offensive lineman Wally Williams' favorite part of New Orleans?
Oh, of course the food, man. Of course the food and, you know, just the general atmosphere. Everybody here is built around having fun and, you know, having a nice atmosphere. And, you know, that's half of my personality, having fun and having nice people around. And that's some of that Southern comfort that you get when you come down to New Orleans. Only one thing. One thing, you have to look good to play good. So if you see a lineman out there with his wristbands on and has his socks looking pretty and nice tennis shoes and that sort of thing, that's probably me, because I like to look in the mirror and watch myself. And if I'm looking good out there on the field, and 9 times out of 10 I'm going to play good.
All right. Wally Williams. Learn something new every day. Well, Sammy Knight is a converted college linebacker who made a smooth transition to NFL safety.
And he works about as hard as he hits opposing players and always seems to find the ball. Tonight, we go inside the helmet of Sammy Knight, having the time of his life playing in the NFL. Sammy Knight kicked the 2001 season off with a bang. He intercepted 3 passes against the Bills. That led to 10 points and was named NFC Defensive Player of the Week. Knight says it was just one of those days. The best part is the Saints beat the Bills 24-6.
You know what, you just look for the opportunities and you want to take advantage of them when you get that chance. You know, a lot of times, you know, you don't get those balls. Balls won't come your way as a defensive DB. But, you know, fortunately for me, that game, that happened.
Knight says he enjoys spending time with his family. However, balancing football with his family and personal life is often challenging. But he says his formula is easy to follow.
Number one, you have to keep God number one in your life, you know, and God is number one in my life. You know, I definitely, you know, owe everything to the Lord, and I try to live life right, you know what I mean? You know, you have your ups and downs, and, you know, you just have to stay fast in the Lord.
Knight led the team in tackles and interceptions last season and says his favorite NFL player growing up was Ronnie Lott, another safety also from USC. He says as a kid, he always dreamed of playing in the NFL. Now he's trying to make the most of his opportunity. After his playing career is over, he's considering broadcasting or going into coaching. The downside being all the travel, but for now, he's living in the moment.
You know, when I'm not playing, I'm usually like a big Madden. I'm a PlayStation John Madden fan, you know, but recently I just got married. I have my wife Frida, my daughter Cheyenne out here. I have another daughter back home, but you know, I just been playing PlayStation. You know, that's my love.
Knight calls himself the most optimistic person in the world. That means he has high hopes for what the Saints can achieve this season.
No matter what the odds, you know, you can ask any of my players. I think I can do it, or I think we can do it. So I'm an optimistic type guy, and you know, we welcome the challenge of anybody, and we're just looking forward to going out against the New York Giants and playing well against them.
And of course, to play like Sammy Knight had, that's great for the Saints against the Giants. You have to love the spirit of Sammy Knight, kind of a quiet guy, but really the quarterback of that defense really gets it done.
A terrific player, and again, a guy who failed the combines, who really doesn't run fast, okay?
Right.
But sometimes the league gets too hung up on those kind of things. Here's a guy who can just play football and has a great nose for the ball. A key Saint, indeed.
Now, wait a minute. That's my job to blow the whistle.
No, it's my turn to blow the whistle.
This Saints defensive tackle is blowing the whistle on a problem many New Orleanians share. Martin Chase in his off-the-field fight against asthma.
Plus, one-on-one with Jim Haslett. Harry McCullough asked the coach about the patriotism felt in stadiums around the country as the NFL got back to business. More Inside Saints ahead on ABC 26.
Inside Saints takes you inside the heart of defensive tackle Martin Chase. Recently, Chase was a guest on Old School 102.9 with the home team, LBJ and Kelder Summers. The subject, asthma, something Chase knows firsthand, and his work with the American Lung Association.
I think it's important for me to try to get the information out there to let to know other people like myself as professional athletes, we have asthma too, you know, and let youth know that, you know, they have dreams too. And they give them a chance, an opportunity that I can be just like him and make it through asthma.
Chase is a spokesman for the American Lung Association, and he's now appearing in these new public service announcements, soon to hit the New Orleans airwaves.
Now, Chrysler presents One-on-One with Coach Jim Haslett. Here's ABC 26's Harry McCullough.
You know, when the sports world paused for a moment of silence last weekend, it meant the Saints would go 21 days between games. Now, originally, Coach Jim Haslett, he was one of those guys that wanted to play right away, but now he's pretty much convinced that the league made the right decision not to play, and he was inspired by what he saw this weekend.
Well, I thought it was, you know, first of all, I thought it was exciting, you know, and the patriotism by everybody in the country and the teams, and I think it was great to get back on the field, obviously, so people could get on with their lives, and one, it was just, you know, get 3 hours away from everything that's going on in the country. I thought it was awesome.
Mm-hmm. You're a guy that loves to be organized. I guess rumors have it you have the next 3 or 4 years practice schedules already worked out. You like to be organized, and obviously this was something out of your control, not being able to play for 2 weeks. That's got to be difficult for you, but then you also always preach you got to overcome adversity, deal with whatever you get.
Yeah, this is a tough situation. You know, I felt like I was personally, I was unorganized all week, and we were trying to make shift when we're going to practice what we're doing, and I think it worked out for the best, you know, that with the rain and everything else, but our players do a great job of dealing with these kind of situations, and I thought they did a great job last week. And you know, we had a good practice today, Monday, and hopefully, you know, we continue to do this and we go up there and we play good football. Now, I don't know what the layoff's going to do to us physically, but I think if we go up there mentally, we know what to do, and we play our type of game, we'll be fine.
Well, physically, at least you should be rested, get some bumps and bruises, but you go to play the New York Giants, and emotionally, they're going to be sky high. But as Americans, I don't think they have any corner in the market as far as emotion. I'd imagine your guys will be emotional as well.
Well, I think obviously it's going to be emotional from the standpoint they're going back home for the first game, but I think you got to understand that we got to withstand the onslaught early, and you know we're going to have to fight through all that. But that doesn't win football games. What wins football games is the little things, attention to detail and discipline. I think so. If we go up there and we do the little things and don't worry about crowd noise and don't worry about all the festivities going on, I think we're going to be okay.
Well, let's talk X's and O's. Obviously, this is a team that went to the Super Bowl last year. It's a pretty good team. You know they're going to try and bloody your nose on defense, trying to get the game into the fourth quarter and then make it a close game.
Well, hopefully, because that's what we play too. Right. So this will be a good game. I think two teams are well matched. They're a good football team. Obviously, they went to the Super Bowl last year. If we want to get to that level, we're going to have to compete with teams like this and beat them. So why not go up to their place and give them a game and see what happens?
Yeah, been pretty good on the road. Not too bad on the road in the last couple of years.
Yeah, I think we're about 8-1 on the road. So we'll be. I think that will be the sticking point.
Right. It's not too early to start talking about playoffs when you're at this level, when you think. So it may be a team that you might need to beat for, you know, some kind of playoff and some kind of tiebreaker down the road.
Well, I think anytime you play a team, one in the NFC, you know, it's in your conference, and it's not a divisional opponent, but I mean, it could come down to the end of the year that one of these two teams, they'll take the head-to-head record on and who gets home field advantage. And, you know, it happened last year. I kept saying that early. We lost to Detroit, we lost to Philadelphia, and I think it come back to nip us later on. So I think our players will know that and understand what the circumstance and the situation is, and this will be a great challenge for our football team.
What's crazier right now, the Vikings being 0-2, the Titans being 0-2, or the Chargers being 2-0, or the Bengals being 2-0?
Well, you know, the Chargers, you know, the teams they've played, I can see why they beat them. Cincinnati is doing a great job. I'm really surprised at Tennessee and Minnesota, but again, 2 games doesn't make a season. You know, we started off 1-3 last year and come back and won. And Tennessee's got a good football team, and they'll come back and they're going to have a heck of a record.
You know, Coach Haslett's not real sure. He said, you know, when you're not playing, you can lay the football on the ground, things that he thinks the Titans and the Ravens may have done yesterday, so he's not sure about that. But he thinks by not playing, it took a lot of the unknowns out of his team's mind, the players' mind, teams like stadium security, air security, things like that. Now the players saw it went all right last week, so they can relax and just concentrate on football.
You buying in?
Yeah, I'm buying in. And I think you're right. The Saints might be rusty, but they'll sustain it and they'll be okay in the second half.
I think they will, too. You know, the one thing that, Harry, you alluded to the Saints' road record, 8-1 over the last year or so that Jim Haslett's been the head coach. And that's because the Saints can run the football and play defense and don't beat themselves. Of course, we'll be right back with our picks for the Saints and the Giants next on Inside Saints. Well, time to pick the Saints and the Giants. What do you think?
I'm going to go with the Saints. I think the Giants are going to come out really emotional and high-strung, but the Saints will sustain it, and they will come away with a win. Close, but they'll win it.
Okay. And do we have Harry McCullough with us?
Yeah.
There he is. And I know who he's going to pick.
Well, you know what, Ed? I like both of these teams. They're good defenses, good running games. I think it comes down to the quarterbacks, Kerry Collins, Aaron Brooks. I think I'll take Aaron Brooks this game.
And you know what? I think you're right. I'll go with Aaron Brooks and the Saints as well in a very close game. Well, from all of us here at ABC 26, we thank you for watching Inside Saints.
And we will see you next week. Have a good night.
Good evening.
You know, it's been so long since the Saints were on the playing field, it was kind of like a season opener again. After all, it was against another New York State team. Hi again, everyone. I'm Juan Kincaid, and welcome to 4th Down on 4. The Saints came up short against the Giants today, 21-13. It was a weird game, wasn't it? As expected, plenty of defense, occasional flashes of offense, and maybe, just maybe, some cries out for the replacement refs to come back.
Down 8 points, needing a touchdown and the 2-point conversion to tie it. Aaron Brooks completes a desperation throw to Willie Jackson for the apparent touchdown, and that's where the story of this game is summed up. A penalty nullifies the score, and the Saints fall on the road 21-13.
A lot of character guys in that room, and to be down and then screw up the onside kick and then still to fight back, and within 8 points with 3 seconds to go says a lot about our football team, that we're a pretty good football team, and we just got to get clicking on all cylinders. We just can't let penalties and things like that. It really, in field position, we got to do a better job on that.
That's a good thing that we can get out of it. Even though we shot ourselves in the foot so many times, we still had an opportunity to come back.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, false start, holding, offense, clipping, illegal formation, offense.
The Saints will be seeing yellow tonight. Penalties dominate this one. The Saints flagged 14 times for 102 yards. The Giants 11 penalties for 100 yards.
We got the penalty. They didn't get many of them. I mean, we were emotionally ready to play. They were. But it's like, to me, it was like we were playing against not only the fans and the players, we were playing against the black and white stripes. So that's where I felt.
The penalty's costly because of their timing. In the first quarter, Kyle Turley's personal foul pushes the Saints out of field goal range. Another example, a third quarter run by Aaron Brooks. That big gain brought back 2. Turley flagged again.
You can't get into a rhythm. You saw us, we're driving up and down the field. They couldn't stop us. Then they throw a flag, they throw a flag, they throw a flag. What are you going to do? Those are momentum breakers. You can't have those things. And, our fault, their fault, whatever. I mean, who knows? But there's too many penalties to be called out there.
Well, every time we got a play, we got a long run. We had a 25-yard run call back. Ended up, instead of, 1st and 10, we were 2nd and 25. I mean, that happened a bunch of times. And, every time we got something going, we had a penalty.
The Saints say they're not blaming this loss on their 21-day layoff. Emotions at Giants Stadium didn't affect the outcome either. The scene definitely different. Armed guards outside the stadium, American flags flying in it. But in the end, the Saints say their mistakes and miscues cost them the game.
Well, there's a lot of missed opportunities. Well, I got to sit back and look at the film, but it looks that way. And I think the game boiled down to the field position, the outpunches, and the penalties.
We just need to do the little things. We need to cut out a lot of the penalties. We hurt ourselves early in the game, and we just didn't fully recover. When you have those type of penalties, you can't win. So I think we just got to go back, and we got to keep playing like we playing on defense. And we got to, can't let the big plays happen. We covered that up, man. We'll be all right. It ain't no need to panic right now. We played a good team today.
That time off had nothing to do with that game. Nothing at all. We should have won that game. But we lost. So we have to go back and figure out what to do to beat the Vikings.
One thing.
Get a win next week in their home opener against the Vikings. I'm Lee Zurich, 4th down on 4.
Some numbers of note. Aaron Brooks had to throw the ball 54 times for 291 yards. He was picked off once. Ricky Williams ran the ball well when he was given the ball, 53 yards on 16 carries. Another big day for Willie Jackson. 1 touchdown, 8 catches for 105 yards. Oh, by the way, that total was just 3 yards more than the Saints were penalized 14 times, 102 yards. Now joining us now, Channel 4 football analyst Archie Manning. Archie, first of all, 21-13 the final score, 8-point difference and a lot of mistakes, an ugly, ugly game. But the Saints, as the road team, where they want to be when the game comes to a close.
Sure, with a chance to win at the end. It was, I say, an ugly game. It was just hard for any rhythm to get going in the game. So many penalties and so many mistakes, and Saints struggled a little bit again in the offensive area. But like you said, made some plays, hung in there, got back in there with a chance at the end to get in the end zone, go for 2, and get it into overtime.
And we know this is the second game of the season, but you got to remember this is a 21-day drop-off, hitting each other every day. Does that factor into it at all? This is like the opening game again.
I think it probably was somewhat like an opening game again, but Sure, it's unprecedented. Just having to, after you play one game, go 21 days before you play another one. The Saints came out a little slow offensively like they did before, but I didn't really think it was like just like Buffalo. I thought it was just the penalty, and it seems like every time all the Saints penalties were at inopportune time.
Players weren't about to use the rust, the layoff, as an excuse for losing this game today. But I would have to think that that has something to do with getting back into a rhythm, 21 days off without any kind of contact against anyone else.
It's possible. The Giants are a good defense, so they cause some of it. I just think, as I said before, the lack of rhythm into the game, just both teams making plays, big penalty, taking yourself out of it, kind of shooting yourself in the foot. So yeah, it looked like rust, but I know they prepared hard, and I know they were ready to play. It was kind of a unique situation going up there to New York, of
course.
But
it's the second game in a row where this team has struggled, especially in the first half with the offense. Does that make a cause for concern now with Minnesota coming up now? Or is that 21 days to blame for this? Because they say the offense maybe is the last thing to come around.
Well, who knows what's to blame for that. I think, though, sure, two games in a row where the offense hadn't been at full go, it seems like, in the first half. But then throughout each game, you've seen what the capabilities are of the offense, and we got good people on offense. We got big play people. I don't think this is going to be something that's going to carry on every week where you just slow out of the gates. It happened for a second game. I look for this offense to explode any day. Now, next week would be a good time against Minnesota.
Absolutely. 21 points given up by the defense, but again, they came to play today and gave the Saints plenty of opportunities in this game. Guys like Joe Johnson, Leroy Glover getting in the backfield and pressuring Kerry Collins. Defense continues to play well in this team, and you would think that once that offense comes around, you know,
oh, this is a good defense one. There's no doubt. I mean, you see it there, and sure, you got to tip your hat to the Giants a little bit. You know, they had some big plays called back too, but they were patient. And then, you know, Dane made some good runs. They blocked well at times, and they made a big throw on the touchdown pass. So, but you still see that this is a solid defense. I think it's solid throughout. And as they play games, I think it'll even. This is a solid defense. I think it's solid throughout, and as they play games, I think it'll even, and the offense will help them out. It'll even get better.
Okay, Archie. More with Archie Manning, our football analyst here at Channel 4, in just a moment. Still ahead here on Fourth Down, Saints and Yellow Hankies. It was like having a caution light on I-10 during rush hour traffic. We'll talk about the mistakes and try and figure out why they happen so frequently. That's next. Stay with us. Just for a moment, put yourself in the Saints players' position, in their shoes, if you will. If you were out of work for 3 weeks, you too might become a bit rusty. Maybe that's why the team struggled to move the ball down the field with some consistency. But it's not the only reason. It's hard to play with penalties, and the Saints had 14. Jim Henderson has more on those miscues.
The question to be answered in this game was rust or rest. How would the 21-day layoff affect the Saints?
While they might have been a bit rusted, they might also have been too well rested, too anxious to play after the unprecedented layoff. They were emotionally charged, but executionally challenged.
You know, it's not very smart you know, it's not what we teach, obviously.
To a man, the Saints seemed to take their head coach's lead, that the inactivity wasn't the cause of their productivity, or lack thereof.
Anything to do with the layoff, the rustiness?
No, we just didn't play well.
You know, maybe it took us out of rhythm in terms of execution, maybe not. But it was just an emotional game out there. I think we got caught up in all emotion.
Instead, most were inclined to blame the flag-happy officiating crew for disrupting their offense just as much as the Giants' defense did.
Officials do what they do. I mean, they're calling this game. I'm a little disappointed in the way the game is, being officiated now, though, on a general basis, because they've taken the fun out of it personally.
The Saints were penalized on the first play from scrimmage in the game. They were penalized on the last play from scrimmage in the game, twice then on one player, Willie Jackson. The veteran officials had won a 50% increase in their salary since the Saints last played, which they apparently felt obligated them to throw 50% more flags. The Saints were penalized 14 times, the Giants 11 times. On a day when the flag was poignantly significant, so too were those that lowered the Saints' perfect record to half staff. At Giants Stadium, Jim Henderson, 4th down on 4.
Welcome back here on 4th Down. Channel 4 analyst Archie Manning joining us here, and I want to just start off first of all talking about this team against the Giants. 14 penalties, and we know how good the Giants are already, defending NFC champions. You can't have that many penalties to beat this team.
No, I think you go before the game, you tell Jim Haslett and the coaching staff, say, you're going to have 14 penalties today. He says, we lose. So that's too many. There's a lot of penalties being called around the league, so all teams, but they need to eliminate their penalties because it'll certainly get you beat, and 14 is too many. You'll usually lose.
First play of the game, Michael Lewis returns the ball 68 yards on the kickoff return. First play from scrimmage, Kyle Turley gets the unsportsmanlike conduct, and yeah, it was the first play from scrimmage, but that's a momentum killer. I mean,
well, I think it was. I felt like in this game, especially with the Saints having to go to New York and all the circumstances, if the Saints could score first, I thought it would just be a plus. And when Michael Lewis ran the kickoff back, I said, boy, he gets 7 right there. Now this is really going to help the Saints and can stay ahead. I think they could win the game, but gosh, to get that run and get down there in close to the red zone and then wind up punting. I mean, we didn't even get 3 out of it. That was tough.
This refereeing crew has averaged over 20 flags a game, we found out today. Is that just the Saints not making the proper adjustments to this crew, or is it just these guys' lack of concentration on their part?
Well, I'm not sure you can adjust to a crew. I mean, as I said, it looks like to me they're calling more officials.
But you have to watch yourself.
Calling more flags. Well, you do, because, I mean, they've kind of alerted the league this year. It's just too much going on, too much shoving, pushing, this and that. And they're going to throw the flags, and I think they're doing it, especially here early in the season. So I'm sure, even though I'm sure some of the officials and view the film, some of the flags, you view the film, you say that wasn't right, or that was a bad call. But still, there's a lot of calls. I think all coaches have got to alert their team. Stop all the junk. Let's just play football between the whistles and not afterwards.
Not going to ask you for your expert analysis in terms of giving you a prediction of next week's game against Minnesota, but this is a team in the Vikings dangerous now because they almost went 0-3 today, but they get that victory against Tampa Bay. Very dangerous coming in. Saints have to be ready for this team.
Well, certainly. They're a very explosive team. Now, I would feel real good about it if they'd have lost to Tampa Bay today, but I think that's a team with high expectations that from Sunday to Sunday was what was going to kill that team while they were losing, because they're not used to it. And you saw kind of the bickering and things going on last week. Now, they got a win under their belt, and that's a big win. You beat Tampa Bay, that's a big win. So they got their head up a little bit. Dante Culpepper had a good day. Got the ball to Chris Carter, to Moss a little bit. But still, I don't think they're as good a team as they were last year. I think I think the Saints offense can go against their defense, and certainly I know Tampa Bay is a good defense, and the Saints defense will have to have a top effort. So it should be a good ball game, because now they've got their head up, and it'd be really a second big win for them to come on the road and beat the Saints.
Can the Saints take anything from that preseason game against the Vikings this year?
I don't pay much attention to preseason. I don't think you but I don't think they'll forget the.
But the weapons don't change, though.
No, they don't. And you go back to the playoff game last year too. I don't think the Saints are going to forget that. But it's like this coaching staff has said all along. This team was better probably the first day of training camp this year than they were in that playoff game last year. This will be a good ball game. I think the Saints are a better team than the Vikings.
Okay, Archie, we appreciate your time on Sunday. Thanks a lot. Archie Manning, our guest here on 4th Down. He is our football analyst and provides such great expert analysis for us. More football to get to here on 4th.
That we weren't able to win the game, but we shouldn't be disappointed in the way we physically played, or the physical part of the game in terms of the toughness and aggressiveness that we played with.
When last we were together, it was the night of September 9th. The Saints and their traveling party were flying home from Buffalo, basking in the intoxicating glow of victory, and all was right with the world. 36 hours later, that world changed in ways too horrific to imagine, and now we wonder if this world will ever be right again. Each and every one of us mourns a death in the family that is America. Yesterday, we sought to continue our daily lives in the midst of grief. The Saints and the Giants played a football game against each other, but also against the smoldering backdrop of a funeral pyre of 6,000 innocent victims in the gap-toothed skyline of Lower Manhattan. Our lives and our priorities in them will never be the same. It'll be a long time before I'll ever be comfortable calling an athletic contest a must game again. Many fractures in this world must be mended first. There, the healing is a very slow process, but maybe, just maybe, games like yesterday's accelerate it. We will never forget, but for a while yesterday afternoon, we didn't have to remember as much. In the course of the afternoon, I heard boos and cheers, sounds I hadn't heard from others in what seemed like a very long time. On the plane ride home, in the company of old friends, I laughed aloud and consciously tried to recall the last time I had done that. Must have been about 3 weeks prior, coming home from Buffalo, before the end of the Innocents 2 days later. That Tuesday morning, the last morning we awoke feeling safe in America. From the back of the plane, there was occasional laughter as well among the players who had suffered a defeat near a city that's shown all of us what suffering really means. The players were thankful to have gotten on with their lives. So many haven't because of others who never will. At the airport and later at the Saints facility, fans cheered the departing players as if their comeback efforts had succeeded rather than failed on the game's final play. Their world, our world, was coming back as well on an uncharted path we have never traveled before and hope to never have to again.